After so many years, hounded by hatred and trapped by fear, I'm in a box. I've got no place to go. If I follow my mind, I know I slaughter my own. Help me, I'm the prisoner. Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black babies in the womb, shackled and bound, chained by the caveman who keeps beauty down, smacked on the ass when they're squalling and wet, heir to a spineless man who never forgets, never forgets that he's a prisoner. Can't you hear my plea? 'Cause I need somebody, Lord knows, to listen to me. I'm a stranger to my son who wonders why his daddy runs, yeah.
Peace and love, family. Welcome again to the NAPP podcast. I am Brother Frank, and I'm with former political prisoner
Abdul Haq Islam.
Today, we focus on the legacy and political contributions to our national liberation struggle of Malcolm X, El Haj Malik El Shabazz. It's very important that we understand that they took us. When I say they, our enemies took Malcolm from us physically, but they never could take him from us politically, ideologically. So when we talk about Malcolm and we talk about what's going on in the world today, we have to ask ourselves, what would Malcolm's position be as we reflect on his politics, that including political prisoners, right? We see the genocide in Palestine taking
As former political prisoner, the late Viola Plummer said, everything we ever got, we fought for. You know, this system never gave us nothing. Everything we got through struggle. And through struggle, you know, the black man has developed political muscles. The black woman has developed political muscles, you know, and the struggle continues in every aspect of our existence, our struggle. You know, Malcolm spoke of many of the aspects of the mind, the economics, the politics, you know, the social. You know, right now, you know, we see things happening in the world. Malcolm would be on fire about what's going on in the world. You know, our political prisoners are of the type of mind that they were fighting against much of what's happening in the world right now. You know, and in that they have the political spirit and the ideology, the self-determination, the independence, you know, that Malcolm taught. You know, Malcolm will be on fire for them. You know, right now we see the what the seeds of fascism and racism has produced. I'm reading a book right now called The Counter Revolution of 1836 by Dr. Gerald Horne. And on every other page in this book is talk about massacres and murders. You understand that the settlers, you know, committed against our people. This type of book, this book right here, can set people on fire about the fight. You know, the Slocum Massacre, one of the worst massacres in the history of the world. You know, as the settlers was moving into Texas, they had a genocide program against the indigenous people, or sometimes called the Indians, and the black people. You know, and you know, most of them, many of them are quoted, and they believe it was quite normal to wipe out a whole race of people. You know, get rid of all of them, kill them all. You know, that's what they said. That's what they believed in, and that's what we came up in. You know, and that is the seed of this nation that we live in today. And right now, we see that the same evil spirit is happening. It's in action, in Palestine. America is supplying Israel with the weapons, and they know that these weapons are killing innocent people. I think it's like 37,000 have been killed so far, and like 40% are women and children. And the U.S. knows that this is happening, and still they continue to back Israel in this genocide. This genocide is happening today. We live in a world in which the enemy, has has done genocides, continues to do genocides. So it's required of us to, respond in a logical and reasonable way.
Absolutely. We have to join organizations. We have to participate in our national liberation struggle. We have to be where the fighting is at, and we have to make a commitment to do that. You know what I'm saying, brother?
That's right. Malcolm told us, to defend ourselves. One of his great contributions was to put this type of courage in us. He was a very, very courageous, fearless brother. And through his leadership, many of our people came up fearless and courageous and militant. We talk about the civil rights struggle, which is right on. But one thing that we don't hear as much about was the contribution that the militants made to push this stuff forward, to make the system respond to us. The militants, when we talk about self-defense, Malcolm came, you understand, and told us the foolishness of sitting around and let somebody kick you in your behind, smack you upside the head, and you want to kiss them on the cheek and think they're going to stop. I'm writing a poem right now. One of my lines in the poem is we talk about defense, that the people who practice nonviolent stuff, the defense is that metal thing around your house. They don't even know what you're talking about. So we understand right now that the U.S. and the white supremacy, that is in full bloom right now, that is an enemy to our people. So we must respond in a very, very logical way. Malcolm was an example of what study can do, what education can do, and to get puts us on a path to education based in reality, an education that looks at history.
Absolutely. And Malcolm was speaking about political maturity, right? You have to advance in your political ideology. You have to make a commitment to studying consistently. You have to have discussions with like minds, and you have to take that concept, that idea, and put it to practice, right? Because what use it is if you're not doing anything with it besides exchanging ideas with others? You have to commit yourself to an organization. You have to make time to carry out those ideas, because Malcolm sacrificed much time away from his family, away from people he considered friends, and he committed himself to organizing his people. After the Nation of Islam, he started the African Organization for Unity.
Organization for Unity,
yeah. So he started that organization, and that was his commitment to addressing the issues of his people. And I think that when us, as part of the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition, Sekou Odinga was a founder of this organization, and he was part of that organization that Malcolm started. And then at some time he moved on beyond that, but he did not stop there. He committed himself to continue to fight for his people. And I think that if we have any respect for people like Sekou Odinga, people like Malcolm X, we'll participate in a struggle to advance our people, to free our people, right? To make sure that our people's self-determination is protected. And we got to do that seriously. We have to commit ourselves to that. And that's why, this episode is focused on the ideas of Malcolm, because we have to let the state know that you killed him physically, but not politically. In fact, you amplify his words even more so, because being that he's a martyr, now we have to ask ourselves the question, why was he killed? And then once we understand why he was killed, then we decide that what he was fighting for was correct because he was a threat. And I think that that's very important to tell ourselves and to tell our family as well as our friends about what is necessary when it comes to what's right for us, our self-determination. And we have a right to be self-determined. And Malcolm let us know that right away. He said we had to control the economics in our community. We had to control the politics in our community. That was up to us to do that. And we had to do that in action. We have to go where the people are. We have to engage the people. And we have to have a united front to exercise and practice those ideas. And I think that in 2024, when we look at what's going on in our communities, Malcolm's ideas are still alive and they still will have impact on our lives. How was you affected by Malcolm X, and how do you commit yourself to carrying out Malcolm's ideas?
Well, like many others, my total life was transformed, you know. And one of the first books I read in the transformation process was the autobiography of Malcolm X, you know. And I find that that's been the case in many, many people, you know, that their whole interest in the door of consciousness was one of the first shared experiences was reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, you know, powerful, powerful book. So I'm saying to the young audience, you know, some of the older people, some folks who's grown up now, they probably might know about it already, but we're inviting the youth right now, you understand, to know about Malcolm X, to study Malcolm X, to know his history, you know, and for his ideas to continue to make us grow. You know, like I said, when I was in prison, I've seen the many people's lives totally transformed, you know, from criminal mentality, drugs, and all this type of stuff, you know, to growing. You know, this is what Malcolm talked about, to bring us from a slave state, you know, into freedom, to show the manhood. Malcolm was described as the manhood of our people. And like brother Frank just said, you know, he was assassinated and the state, you understand, was involved in it. You know, in a letter that the family has by a brother named Raymond A. Wood. Raymond A. Wood was a police officer, and he confessed that he was told and he was instructed and commanded to lure two of Malcolm's security men away so they wouldn't be on the scene, you understand, on that day that Malcolm was assassinated, and they committed crime. He coached them into committing crimes, and they were arrested. So the security was lax, you know, and also at the day of Malcolm's assassination, there's very, very light police presence. Any other time, you know, the police was thick everywhere. But on the day of Malcolm's assassination, you know, they wasn't around, you know. So so the state was involved in Malcolm's assassination, and you know, like Brother Frank said, the state had a reason for getting rid of Brother Malcolm, because the state, you know, the black people raising from a state of slavery to a state of being strong, being independent, of doing for self, you know, and this is totally against what the state had prescribed for our people, and what they laid down for our people, you know, through miseducation, through violence, you know, to telling us that we was nothing, that we was less than a dog, you know. And Malcolm's ideas was very, very dangerous to this type of total control, this colonization, you know. And Malcolm spoke on this and encouraged us to stand up, you know, to feel good about ourselves, to love ourselves. He taught black love, you know. He made, you know, the value of blackness, you know, talk about our contributions, you know, through the years, you know, through the centuries, what we have produced. And consciousness grew, you know, around Brother Malcolm. And, you know, like I said, this podcast is about political prisoners, and many in our political prisoners share the political line of Brother Malcolm. The Black Panthers, you know, were organized, and they took on the political line of Brother Malcolm. You know, many of you know, all our political prisoners, they look up to the brother, and the brother still continues to lead And like I was saying, our youth need to know more about Malcolm. Talking about what's happening today. Every day in the news, there's another story about young our youth shooting 5, 6, and 7 people. The other day in Kansas City, a young man was said to have shot and killed one person and injured about 17. But when we look at what's happening in the world and we look at our people, the people who study folks like Brother Malcolm, Garvey, and these type of leaders, they don't act like that. So it's very, very important that we respect and share the legacy of Brother Malcolm, because what's happening in the world today, it's similar to what's happening in the past. But right now, there's a genocide happening, in Palestine, and the object is a land grab, and we see, when I read this book, the Counter Revolution 1836, it talks about many, many land grabs when the settlers come in and take over land. All of them is talking about just wiping out a complete race of people.
And one thing that Malcolm said, I'm sorry to interrupt your ideas, but I just didn't want to forget this idea. When you talk about the land grab, Malcolm said that land is the basis for our independence.
Right.
And I think that that's something that we really need to understand, because when we deal with gentrification, what really is ethnic cleansing, we got to understand the value of our land. Wherever we at, wherever Black people are living at, that's value, right? Our culture is valuable, and people want what we have, and they want our property, they want our land, and we got to understand that. So we got to retain our land, we got to organize our people, and we got to utilize our land to address our issues. Because sometimes when somebody offers us something for something that we have, we want that immediate money, and we want that immediate profit instead of thinking long terms about, if I keep this land, I could do X, Y, and Z for my people and for our cause, and I could accept my role, my responsibility. Because Malcolm, that's exactly what he did. He accepted his role, his responsibility. And I think that when in 2024, with all the things that are going on, the genocide in Palestine, U.S. held political prisoners, we got people like Mumia who's still incarcerated, people like Kamal Siddiqui who's still incarcerated, people like Joy Powell that's still incarcerated, people like Leonard Peltier that's still incarcerated, people like Imam Jamil Al-Amin that's still incarcerated. Why is that? We have to do more to bring them home. We have to commit ourselves to being organized. And on that note, on February 23rd, at the Malaysia Documentary Theater, that's in Harlem. You contact me at this number right here, 347-679-3936. I can give you the flyer on the text. Again, that's 347-679-3936. The NEPPC, along with Dare to Struggle organization, will be co-sponsoring the showing of this very important documentary, Dope is Deaf. It talks about the work of Dr. Mutulu Shakur, as well as the Young Lords who took over Lincoln Hospital so they could use it to to serve the interests of their people. One of the things that Mutulu was about was his people, and he used acupuncture to get them off of heroin addiction. So Mutulu followed the ideas of Malcolm. We in 2024 need to follow the ideas of Malcolm when it comes to dealing with our issues as a people. Join an organization, support an organization. Yes, sympathy is appreciated, but solidarity is what it really takes to move these ideas forward, to solidify them furtherly, concretely in our community, and let our community understand that this is what needs to be done. We got to do it together. Our children need our best, and so do our elders. Let's protect them with everything we have. And that's why today, when we think about Malcolm, let's ask ourselves, how are we honoring Malcolm? Are we a part of an organization? Are we doing the work? Are we reading material that Malcolm would have read? Are we, giving our best to our people like Malcolm would have done? And let's be honest with ourselves, because if we're not doing that, then are we really honoring Malcolm? So, that's what I had to say, brother, because it's very important that we be clear when it comes to Malcolm.
Yeah, thanks to the clarity, brother. You talked about land, and when we look at this enemy, we'll notice that, while they're talking all this talk about human rights and, loving everybody and justice and all that stuff, while they talk that talk, whenever there's a great economic wealth to be gained, that is when we see their true nature come out. Right now in Palestine, what's happening in Palestine, that land grab, that genocide happening in Palestine, what you're not going to hear on the 5 o'clock news, read about it in the newspaper either, is that in that area is one of the largest reserves in the world of oil and natural gas, and transportation routes, and the U.S. is heading toward bumping heads with China in that they're proposing a travel route, you understand, is coming direct contradiction and conflict with a travel route that China is planning. And this could lead into a war situation in the future, and in that the U.S., has a contradiction in its belly, understand, in that they want to draft black soldiers to go over there and fight for billionaire, white supremacist billionaires. That is very, very easy for these black soldiers when they look around and see their comrades getting blown in half, blood everywhere, eyes hanging out, one arm hanging by a little string of thread. It's very easy for them to understand. It's kind of dumb for them to be over there fighting for some white supremacy. So it's a lot of things happening in the world today, and Malcolm's ideas is very, very important for us to grasp, and to push on. We encourage people, who listen to this podcast to look up Malcolm X, to read his writings, and develop the self-love was to get us to hear and obey and do everything he say, you understand, and to talk about what's happening in Palestine, and to relate it to the Muslims. What they say about the Muslims must be set on fire. You understand? And one weapon that they have in their hand is the dawah, to preach the Islam. So they must become very, very militant and organized. You understand? And very, very aggressive and pushing forth the dawah. The dawah, the cause of Islam, is the atomic bomb. We have many, many atomic bombs to drop on the false power of America, to teach true monotheism, Tawheed, you understand, in which transforms one's being into, that which the Creator, had designed for us to be like that, and to understand the value of that, and to say to the Yahud, to Israel, Israel says that it has a contract with God, but the way they act is like they got a contract with Satan. What they're doing is very, very satanic. So how can you say you got a contract, everlasting, non-conditional covenant with God? You understand? The Quran makes more sense when it says, Allah says in chapter 2, verse 144, that my covenant is not with the wrongdoers. So they ain't got no, them folks ain't got no covenant, and the U.S. is not acting in a godly way. It's acting in a very, very vicious, subhuman way. And the whole history of America, we study the history of this country, it will put us on a path toward action. You know, we put some fight in us, and also history will teach us what other people did, you know, to overcome their oppression. You know, the dialectic that exists between progress and reaction. You know, back and forth. You know, we push for our rights, and then they come with you know the idea to overwhelm us with racism and white supremacy. You know, but we study the words of people like Brother Malcolm, you know, which is in our political prisoners, you know, which animate our political prisoners and the politics that they give, you know, to our struggle. You know, we'll realize the value, and that the fight to free our political prisoners must be an AAA1 priority in our struggle. You know, we must become stronger and stronger and stronger, because among our people, they are among the strongest of our people. You know, the most giving, the most loving of our black people. You know, so you know, we should say, "What's the call? Free them all." In the spirit of Brother Malcolm, what's the call? Free them all.
Absolutely, we got to keep up this fight to free our political prisoners, right? Because our political prisoners, they carry the ideas of Malcolm X, and I think when we think about Malcolm X and we think about who he taught and how he taught, we understand that why in 2024 we still have people out here fighting. The brother mentioned the autobiography of Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. I know that had a major impact on my political development, because when I read it, right, when I read it, it made me think about, yeah, I'm not no different than anybody else. But when I read it, because when I deal with science, I like to deal with myself as being the subject and talk about how I develop, and because I know that that's something that's relatable. So when somebody reads the autobiography of Malcolm X, they ask themselves some questions about who they are and who they see themselves in the future. And I think that that's very important, because when Malcolm wrote his autobiography for Alice Haley, it let us understand what was happening in his life and how he was able to reflect on what brought him to be the man that he is. Malcolm, when he made his pilgrimage, he started to see the world differently. He started to see the importance, the value of building allies, right? And I think that that's very important, because we need allies in this battle, because this world is created interdependent, right? Everybody and everything needs to rely on something else, and we got to look at that seriously. But you know, we need Black unity, we need Black solidarity on our issues, because you know, one of the things that happens is that when we do have allies, you know, sometimes we have them long term, sometimes we have them short terms. Regardless of what, we still have to face the world as the world identifies us as people of color. So with this understanding being understood, we have to do more to unite our people. We have to do more to fight for what's correct, because there's many ideas out there. And those many ideas, when you really get down to the nitty gritty, is just distractions. So we got to put those distractions to the side, because time is limited. And as you age, you realize the importance and the value of time even more. So you realize that, you know, what you thought you had time for, you really don't. And politics is everywhere and in everything. So you can't ignore it. Even if you ignore politics, you're just telling yourself you're okay with being attacked. You're okay with being oppressed. And now you teach your children that they should be okay with that. Malcolm taught us that we had a responsibility to ourselves, to our family, to our community, to our nation. And in 2024, that's exactly how we should be carrying on Malcolm's legacy. That's exactly how we should show Malcolm respect, is through actions, through participating in organizations that represent the real interests of Black people. Like what's beneficial to us as a collective, and move aside with these individualistic way of thinking, because that's not going to benefit us collectively at all. So, you know, with this episode, we focus on Malcolm, who he was, what he represent, and what his position would be on political prisoners. Because we got to understand that to say that you're advocating for self-defense is saying that, you know, you are dealing with the state and advanced understanding of how the state is dealing with you, and dealing with self-defense, meaning that they are going to be pushed back from the state. And when that happens, that's going to create martyrs and political prisoners. So we're correct when we say that Malcolm would be for the freedom of our political prisoners. So if Malcolm said that, what does that mean to you? So join the fight for our political prisoners. Our contact is made available 347-679-3936. We are the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition. We can use your support, your participation, your donations. You can donate us at Cash App, Sefu Sankofa, SEFUSANKOFA. Donate $1 that can help. $5 can help more, and $10 can help even more. You know, we're going to use that money to put up more banners in a number of communities, in particular Queensbridge community. That's where we're frequently at. That's where I'm at on Thursdays from the hours of 6 to 8. We have a grievance support group for those who need to talk to somebody. You know, let's talk about our issues. Let's talk about what we need to do, and let's decide what's going to be the best solution for us. So with that being said, I would say continue in the spirit of Malcolm X, continue to move forward, free all political prisoners, don't let them die in prison. You got any closing words, my brother?
Yeah, just briefly. One thing Malcolm said was, don't worry about the odds. When he talked about revolutionaries, he said the revolutionaries didn't care nothing about the odds. They fought no matter what the odds was. You know, when you go into the gym and you lift weights, you know, it's like the odds are against you, but as you push those weights up, you know, and you work it, you become stronger and stronger and stronger. So regardless of what the odds are, you know, we stand up, and that fight, that struggle is going to make us stronger, you know, and with ideas such as Malcolm's in our hearts and minds, you know, we will understand that we're going to win. We're totally confident that we're going to win. So get down with the struggle, get down with some organizations, you know, contact us. You know, we're an organization, you know, and, you know, we're going to win, you know, and, you know, our political prisoner must be free. So we say, what's it called? Free them all.